taking off my subsea engineering hat and moving on to this. Other things. So, why does this matter? Now I'm going to put the subsea engineering hat back on because I thought I was out of slides on this. ProStream, hashtags, all that stuff. So, U.S. government is flipping out that they can't get boats through the Strait of Hormuz. Why does this matter, Runner? This little thing right here, you have to get boats through it. As of right now, per the GPS trackers, the oil tankers are hanging out here, and they're hanging out here, and occasionally they try to go through, and then they get lit up by Iran's missiles or drones, whatever. You tech nerds with war can go tell me exactly what they're blowing it up. Regardless, they're not getting around this strait. If you guys didn't know, majority of oil is not through pipelines. It's through these big, big tankers. And they have to keep everything flowing. Why? They have reservoir tanks further up this canal. And they store the crude oil that's brought in from the oil wells out in these deserts. Oil is full of wax, full of sand, full of all this nasty stuff other than the actual nice oil inside of it, right? Quote unquote nice and clean. If you stop moving this hot 200-degree liquid, it turns into like plugs, waxy plugs, and all these pipelines get completely blocked and the wells shut in. And sometimes you can't bring them back online. Sometimes you can, but it takes you years. Russia's particularly exposed to this instance. In the offshore in the Gulf of Mexico, the operators I work with will do anything in their power not to shut down a well and keep it going, just because the startup is so damn hard. Once it's hot and flowing and going, everything stays liquid, everything stays flowing, everything stays happy. But when you stop it, everything plugs up. So up here, they only have reservoir, these big depots where they store the oil and then they offload it into the tankers. And then the tankers come, the full tankers go down, the empty tankers come up, and they keep repeating this process, right? Naval 101, whatever. That's how they transport crude oil to the production facilities that turn it into gasoline, wax, plastics, diesel, kerosene, whatever. Once they're full, the wells have nowhere to offload their oil, and they have to shut in. So it's a really delicate balance. That's why Hegseth and Trump and all the dudes are flipping out right now. You can only block the Strait of Hormuz for so long before it turns into a much longer multi-month problem to get production back online, which means oil prices go way up and inflation starts creeping way back into the U.S. economy. They're scared shitless of that because they weren't expecting this to drag out into midterms, and if this thing stays blocked, you're going to see really, really expensive oil prices going into the midterms, and you're going to see the Republicans get destroyed. If there's one thing Trump hates, it's bad press going into an election. He's scared shitless of it. It was our plan before when we talked about tariffs. We're like, yo, tariffs are only a thing for so long. It's like maybe he'll get them through, maybe they'll just carry on legal, but it's going to nuke markets. We're going to get our entries, and then things will resolve. This one is somewhat similar. I just don't know time-wise. The tariffs, I had a timeline. I knew by midterms he had to wrap that up because he was in full control of the tariffs. They are not in full control of the Middle East right now. The stories are changing nonstop, and they're doing some very, very drastic things that are revealing how big of a pinch they're in. Even though they're very prideful and saying, oh, things are great, blah, 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 things are not so good right now, and that's why oil's at $100 when it was $60 a few months ago. So let's walk through it. I've explained this. This is how oil transport through here. I think 30%, 20% of the entire world's oil supply goes through here, and it's stopping. And if it stops for too long, it does long-term damage. Moving on.